So with nutrition, if you are going out for a run that's anywhere from that's longer than 75 to 90 minutes, you should be taking some kind of nutrition with you. The reason why that is, so your muscles only store so much glycogen, and once that glycogen is depleted, then you have nothing else that you can use as energy. So it only stores enough for 75 to 90 minutes. So you're going to have to take something with you so that way you can replenish it and have fuel as you go. Otherwise, it's going to cause fatigue, it could cause cramping, it could cause all kinds of issues. So make sure that you're bringing something with you if you're going that long. So as a general rule of thumb, you want to make sure that you're taking anywhere from 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrates. Sometimes you'll hear people talk about calories, but it really is the carbohydrates that's what's helping you fuel, okay? It's those sugars. Your body needs sugar in order to continue to go for all of those miles, all of that time that you're planning on going. So you should start taking something like that at least like 30 to 40 minutes into your run, right? Because if all of the glycogen in our muscles, if that's depleting at the 75 to 90 minute range, then we want to make sure that we're taking it before that, right? Because we don't want to be depleted. Once you are depleted, it is so hard to get back to where you need to be, especially while you're out running. So make sure that you're starting to take your nutrition before that. A good saying that I like is to take it early and often, okay? You can kind of play with how often you want to space things out. We're going to talk about that in a second. But in terms of the 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrates, so every person's body is different. Just like in the amount of time that you're going to take something, everybody's body is a little different. Everyone's body processes things differently. So what you should do, and what I do, I don't do it quite as much now, but when I first really started doing my longer distances, is I actually wrote down all of the nutrition and all of the water and electrolytes that I used during my run, along with the weather outside. So I knew, like, okay, if race day is going to be 80 degrees, these things don't work for my body. But if race day is 40, these things that didn't work then work now. So I really tried to pick and pull things that worked based on the conditions, so that way I was always ready for race day. So make sure you're using these longer runs, these longer durations, to be ready for race day. That's what it's for, to practice, right? That's why we run. Running is practice for the actual event. So the reason why I gave you the range of 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrates is because, like I said, everybody's body is different, right? Some people do need more, some people can get away with a little less. So, taking these things, so if you're working harder, sometimes it's harder to digest things, food, anything. So what I recommend, especially, and if you're also starting out, is to, just because within an hour you need to take 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrates, doesn't mean that you need to take it all together. You need to take it within that hour. So one thing that you can do is you can actually take it over time. So I know people who take a little bit every 15 minutes, and there are some things on this wall that I'm going to show you in a second that are really easy to take regularly, frequently. One other thing with all of the things that you see right here is you want to make sure that you're taking it with water for a couple of reasons. If you watch the hydration thing, so if you're dehydrated, it will actually make it harder to digest any of this stuff anyway, because things just don't flow, okay? It also, some of these things are super dense, not all of them, but a lot of them are a little on the denser side, so it allows the product to be diluted. And the third thing is if you drink water with this, then you're drinking water, so, right? So I'm gonna go through, I'm just gonna make sure I didn't miss anything, because, sometimes I do. And then we're actually going to go through a few of the things that we have on the wall. One thing that I forgot, see, that's why I make notes, guys, because I have a tendency to like just talk and forget things. So one thing that I did forget is just because you have a schedule, so this is another thing you want to write down, like I said, how often. So just because you have the schedule of you're going to take nutrition at this time does not mean that you have to stay on that schedule. If you are feeling hungry, it's already too late and you should have taken nutrition a while ago. Okay, so you don't want to get to that point. I always bring an extra, just in case, because you never know. You might drop one, you might need one off your schedule, and you might not be able to open it, because I've been there, where you just, for some reason that one just doesn't tear open super easily. Maybe you need to give one to a friend. Those of you that know Charisse always has extra. If you ever need extra, just go to her. She has snacks everywhere. But take it early, often. Try to maintain some kind of schedule. Play with the schedule. See what works, see what doesn't. See every 40 minutes. See if it's every 50 minutes. See if it's every 30 minutes. See if you need it every 15 minutes. And make sure that you are writing that down and writing down what worked for you, okay? And I would do it time-based. Some people get caught up in doing it distance-based, like at mile 3, at mile 2, taking nutrition. The reason why you don't want to do it distance-based is because if you have just not a great day and you are only taking nutrition at mile 3, say your pace is 3 minutes slower than what it typically was, which this is actually something that happened to me when I trained for my first marathon. Say your pace is 3 minutes slower than you typically run. That's so many more minutes. That's like 9 minutes longer that you're going without nutrition. So the best thing to do is to take it by time. Most watches will actually, you can set it so that way it sends you a reminder. You can also do little reminder and alerts on your phone so that way you don't miss it. So that's what I would do. Do it time-based. Start with 40 minutes and see how that works for you and adjust from there, okay? Okay, so some of the things that we have on the wall. I want to kind of go over some of the stuff that we have because there's a lot of different ways that you can get your carbs besides just eating it. So there's actually a couple products that allow you to drink your carbs. One of them is Tailwind, which is this product right here. So this actually just goes in 24 ounces of water. And make sure you're always looking at serving size, right? Always looking at serving size. So one packet gives you 50 carbohydrates in just this one, 24 ounces of water. So you're hydrating, you're getting electrolytes, and you're also getting carbs. Now they use super simple sugars, which makes it a lot easier to digest, okay? So you can drink your carbs. You can also chew your carbs. So you could use a shot block. You guys can't really see the wall very well, I don't think. You can use these honey stingers, right? You can use a shot block. So you can also eat your carbs. And I just want to let you guys know, like serving size, right? You guys can't really see this. So 3 pieces is 1 serving. That will give you 24 carbs, okay? So 48 carbs in this whole thing. And these are nice because if it is something that you need to take every like 15 minutes or at least just over a longer span of time, if you can chew while you run, or if you do the run-walk method, you can easily break these up over the course of 15 to 20 minutes because you just chew them, where sometimes a gel is a little harder. And the reason why I'm talking to you guys about serving size, this whole packet is 1 serving of honey stinger. So in order to get to the 39 carbohydrates that this is, you need to eat this entire packet. So keep that in mind. That's why I'm talking to you guys about serving size. Because without knowing the size of the serving, you won't know how many carbs you're actually taking in, okay? So these, if you can chew, these are really, if you want to try to span it out over a period of time, the best things to try. I personally love the honey stinger chews. They are delicious. The fruit smoothie ones are my favorites, but the pink lemonade ones are also really good, along with pretty much all the rest of the flavors, because I've definitely had them all, but fruit smoothie is my favorite. The nice thing about some of these shot blocks is some of them actually do have additional sodium in them. So you are getting some electrolytes, which we talked about already, with some of the shot blocks, okay? All right. We're going to, once I put this back, so we're going to move on to something else. So Noon, which we talked about, does actually make Noon Endurance, which is right here, see? But this does not give you very many carbs. So this only gives you 16. So this would be a great option as you're running to give you a little bit, but it is going to give you a lot of your electrolytes. So you can get a little bit of carbs with a little bit of electrolytes. So this would be something nice to take over that longer period of time. Do I have any questions so far? No, okay. I was hoping for some questions. So like I was kind of talking about stomach issues, so I have always struggled personally with using nutrition because my stomach just doesn't like it. I also wasn't taking it soon enough, so my body was already depleted. I did a lot of the wrong things that I'm telling you guys about. So don't do anything that I tried to do at first, because it's a very terrible experience. So there are a lot of natural options. So my personal favorite is actually this Mirror Energy right here. So the reason why I love this is because it's literally 5 ingredients, and it's all of the things that I can pronounce. They're all natural. Am I going to talk about oatmeal? I can talk about oatmeal. I wasn't planning on it, Sylvia, but I'll talk about oatmeal in a second. So this alone just has red raspberries, coconut palm nectar, molasses. It also has some stuff to give you energy. It has some caffeine. It has a lot of caffeine, actually. And some Himalayan salt, so that way you get some salt. Okay? So this is the one thing that I have found that does the best with my stomach. It's also a little thicker, so consistency is definitely a thing when you're talking about fueling. All of these things are a little bit different in consistency. So this I find is a little bit thicker, so I can take it a little bit longer over a period of time, versus something like this honey stinger, which is also super natural. Not quite as natural, none of them are quite as natural as this, but still super natural, is a little bit stickier, and it's a lot thinner. So like, my messy self has the tendency of getting this all over my hands. So, but it is delicious. The fruit smoothie is good, and I have used this. I do rotate with this. So, but if you are a messy gel eater like myself and get it all over yourself, your hands stay sticky for a little while. Another good natural option for those of you that have some stomach issues is going to be Huma. So this is actually what got me through my first marathon. And it's pretty natural. You can definitely read all of the things in it. It does have the consistency of like a jam though. So if that's not your vibe, then this isn't for you. So just keep that in mind. So there are a lot of natural options for those of you that do have some stomach issues. So just keep, I keep saying keep that in mind because, you got to keep it in mind. There's a lot of different flavors. What I'm going to tell you is just, if you've never tried anything before, come get just one of kind of everything and see what you like and what you don't like. I am going to say if something didn't work for your stomach, the product may not work well. There are obviously other things. If it just didn't taste good, it's not meant to taste good. It's not candy, unfortunately. If they were all Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, I would be perfectly fine and happy, but they're not. So the flavor on most of these is pretty mild, but like I said, it may not taste the best. Try a different flavor. Some of them really aren't that bad. None of them are wonderful because it's not meant to be wonderful. It's just meant to give you energy. But don't give up on the product if it works but you didn't like the flavor, because there's so many flavor options. I mean, I have a whole wall of gel flavor options, right? So goo is our most artificial on here. So goo actually comes in two types. You have the Roxane, and you have just the regular. So the Roxane is kind of like an amped up version of the regular. So a lot of people really do like it at the start of their race. Make sure, like I said, that you're trying it before, but it does have a lot of sodium in it. So it is really an amped up version of the regular goo, okay? So those are kind of our main, where did this come from? Right there. Our main gels. So you can fuel your run with something other than a gel. So you can use real food, and some people have to, or some people use a combination. So just because you only use gel doesn't mean that you can't incorporate something else. You can incorporate regular food. The problem with regular food is you usually have to consume a lot more to get the amount of carbs that you actually need. So these are all designed to give you the amount of a significant amount of carbs without consuming a lot. So just keep that in mind, because regular food, although people love it and they do take it with them, it doesn't always give you the same benefits. A lot of these things are kind of engineered as well to also kind of help with recovery. So if you're fueled properly, your recovery will be better, okay? So there are other things that we carry that you can eat that are solid, and that would be one really good one is actually waffles. Goo and Honey Stinger actually both make a waffle. So if you, every time I pause when I get really close, it's because I'm trying to read the comments, just so you guys know, because there's that awkward pause. So anyone who can't really eat a lot right before they run, myself, this is actually what I use because it does settle super well in my stomach, because it is light, but it does give me something since I have a really hard time eating before I run. So that way I have something in my stomach that's, so I'm not completely empty, right? Because we don't really want to start empty. So this is also good for someone who just wants to snack after because they're hungry. These are delicious. But also someone who's running a marathon. So marathoners, what I've found personally and what some of my friends have experienced, if you're out there for a while, which many of us, including myself, are, because, you know, it's a long way, you get hungry. Like, even though you're fueling and you may have enough fuel, you're not fueling with something super solid. And I found that the longer you're out there, the more your body wants something a little bit more solid versus just this liquid carb or one of these little gels. It wants something solid. So these have actually worked great because they're super light on your stomach and you can easily cut it up and put it in a baggie and consume it. I do know people who use other things than this, but this is what we carry and this is what I love. And they do come in gluten-free options, okay? So there is some gluten-free stuff. So Sylvia wanted me to talk about the oatmeal, which is a little bit more of a pre-running thing. Was there something, Sylvia, specific that you wanted me to talk about with the oatmeal? So delicious.
Lisa's also asking about pre-run food.
Pre-run food. Who is?
Lisa?
What's Lisa's last name? I know a lot of Lisas. Oh. Those are people that should have watched Justin's thing. Justin had a really good talk for my distance group. Okay. So if you are in my distance group and you have questions about pre-run food, email me, and I'm gonna just send you the thing that Justin sent me because it has way more information, and it's really good information than what I'm gonna probably tell you right now. So typically you want to consume food, heavy food, an hour to 2 hours before your run. So everybody's body's different. Like, I literally know someone that can eat anything and then go out for a run and not be affected. So everyone's body is a little bit different, but if you want your body to start processing it a little bit before, about an hour to 2 hours depending on the person. You can eat some light stuff, like 30 minutes before. Like, this would be something really good. Something similar to this honey stinger would be a good 30 minutes before. There is also this thing that we carry that's called UCAN, which I've actually had a lot of people kind of hooked on. I'll talk about that in a second. So UCAN is actually a starch. It's not a simple sugar like the rest of these things. Sylvia asked me how long before running. Oh, I did. Okay. So anyway, so UCAN, so the recommended for this is like 30 minutes before, but because it's a starch and it lasts longer throughout my workout or throughout my run, and my stomach's okay with it, I do take it a little bit closer. I actually go 15 minutes with this. So the reason why this is different than this is, so this, you can see the little chart on the back, guys. Do you see it? So the blue is actually UCAN. This is like a regular gel. So I did, those of you that are in my program, I did send out the link so you could see Justin's talk along with all of the other stuff. So I can resend that, just let me know. But anyway, so this is how the starch works. So you can see that it's much more level, where sometimes the simple sugars, although people don't always notice it, they do kind of feel the spike, right? So this is a really great before. I have a lot of people, not a lot, but several people that have used it and have had a lot of success with it, okay? So another before, so the oatmeal. So Picky Bar actually makes an oatmeal. This is it. It's really delicious, but it's not sugary at all, okay? It really is like a good for you kind of oatmeal. It has a lot of natural stuff. Like this contains rolled oats, dates, chia seeds, almonds, chocolate chips, beet powder, which makes it pink, and sea salt. So, and they actually designed this oatmeal so that way all of the ingredients would benefit you during something like a long run. So it does give you, how many carbs is it? So there's 48 carbs in this. So this is a great pre or even post, because you guys got to remember, you do also have to consume calories, carbs, and everything else after, because you did just deplete it. So those of you like myself that if you run in the morning, even though I haven't been lately, but if you run in the morning and don't want to wake up an hour before just to eat some oatmeal, this can even benefit you after. It does also have 10 grams of protein in it, which is good for recovery, although it's really not enough protein to be like a high protein thing, but it does have some protein in it, so it will definitely benefit muscle recovery. So this is typically one of my go-to post, like Sunday run things, okay? Versus pre, mostly because I don't want to wake up that early. Okay.